Did you become a professional dancer? And what type
I
of dance did you
wanted
do?
to, but you know what's so funny? Hindsight is 2020, like I said, right? Um, I was good at home, like in my friend groups.
Okay.
But seeing what it takes to be a professional dancer, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to rethink this whole thing because us being judgy about whether someone's masculine or feminine, we never rise, right? Because we worried about the wrong things. There's so many things
Exactly.
happening in the world. You worried about if somebody talk with their hands too much. Before I started college, I got robbed.
Oh
And
wow.
so like I have dealt with anxiety. But I didn't know what it was when it happened, right? Like,
Yeah.
it was weird too because it was a white man that did it. So like
Oh
nobody
wow.
believed me.
Before we begin this episode, the Mind Depot podcast would like to ask that you take a second to click the subscribe and like button. It greatly helps us to grow our channel and find more guests that you would like. We appreciate and thank you for watching.
Welcome to another episode of the Mind Depot podcast. Today we have our great guest, Amber. Amber, can you tell our community on the things that you do for the children of New York?
So my name is Amber Peters. I go by Miss P in these streets because it's easier to find me on Google.
All
Right.
right.
It's not too many black girls out there with the name
Google her.
Amber
Google
Peters.
her.
Right? So I had to make sure that people can find me on the interwebs.
Yep.
So for me, I work with families, and I help them to get on track for college by helping them to plan smart and to pay less. I am all about affordability, right? I think, we let the plot get away from us at this point. There's a lot of young people out there who would like risk life and limb and not their own life and limb, right? Their parents' pocket,
Yep.
right? To go to the school of their choice that sometimes is not in budget. And so like I try to talk people down off the ledge and talk about all the great options that are out there. There's super affordable options out there. But like, I also teach people, hey, if the college is not showing you the money, right? Because there
Mhm.
are some schools who package you well. Those are the schools you go after. But if they're not packaging you well, it's time to move on.
All right.
Time to skedaddle. So that's me in a nutshell. I work with schools and organizations. I work with parents directly. I've been in this work for about 11 years, 17 in education in total. But I love what I do. I love it so much.
Okay. No, no. When I first met you and you discussed what you did, I was like, yeah, she's really passionate about what she does. But right now, we're going to get to learn more about Miss Amber herself.
hmm
Okay. So the first question is, when you think back to your childhood, what's one memory that instantly brings a smile to your face?
Ooh, there's so many. I would say my kindergarten, everything. I had a teacher, her name was Miss Finger, and that's exactly how she introduced herself. She was an old lady. I don't even like I try not to think about her too often because like sometimes you be hoping you bump into your teacher in the street. I know that lady is gone. I know she done went and seen Jesus a long time ago because she was close to it when I
Oh
was
man.
in kindergarten. But I just remember like how the class was just so open. Like I just remember having so much fun in her class. She set it up to where we can explore. We did a lot of musical things. I think that's where I figured out I always kind of had a talent for dance, but like, she's always playing music. She always had like a play, and I was always front and center. Put me out there.
Okay.
So I think that was my like one of my favorite childhood memories is like being in her class and like being able to just like be a kid, right? Because I see education differently now. Kindergartners, they don't be getting nap time no more.
Oh wow.
They
Yes.
not playing at the kitchen set, right? Like there's no imaginative play. They're just like literally stressed out. Like, dang, I gotta do math,
From day
English,
one.
right? Like back to back to back without that playtime. And I just remember how like free I was, and like being able to explore and make friends and do all that stuff. So I think that is like one of my favorite memories is just like kindergarten as a whole. And that time.
And after,
That was the end.
oh man, the
I
little
missed those
kids,
naps.
the little kids are gonna watch this and be like, "You guys got nap time."
You was having nap time? Yes, yes, I was having nap time and it was
Oh
wonderful.
man, that's crazy. All right. As a kid, what did you picture yourself as doing when you grew up, and how close did it bring you to that dream today?
I thought I was gonna be a lawyer.
Okay, never too late.
But here's the funny thing, I don't like to argue.
Yeah, it's a lot of arguing in litigation.
I don't like to argue. It's so funny. I think, hindsight is 2020. As you get older, you start to like see things for what they are. When I was younger, like, watching television and seeing, lawyers on television like just look cool. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then yeah, I ended up as a psychology major, because I always wanted to work with people and like help them like problem solve. Um, and then I became a teacher, and that was interesting. That's a story for another day. And then so when I left my full-time teaching job, I got into this program that worked with high school youth, but they were like 17 to like 21. So like working with those kids and trying to help them to figure out what they want their path to be, that's when I was like, oh, this is what I'm meant to do. But yeah, I wanted to be a lawyer, I wanted to be a dancer, I thought I was gonna be all the videos. And then I went from there to being a teacher to being like, nah, this ain't it. To being kind of sort of in between being a teacher and also like being able to problem solve in a different way.
Okay. So
Damn sure not a lawyer. I ain't arguing with nobody. It's not
oh
what
man,
time.
she's like, I'm done with that. So I noticed you mentioned dance 2 times. Did you become a professional dancer? And what type
I
of dance did you
wanted
do?
to, but you know what's so funny? Hindsight is 2020, like I said, right? Um, I was good at home, like in my friend groups.
Okay.
But seeing what it takes to be a professional dancer, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to rethink this whole thing because, right? When you watch people who are like they're going on tour, they're dancing behind, the biggest artists and stuff like that. That work ethic is insane, right?
Yeah.
What you put your body through is insane. It's cute to do a little 1-2 for a little talent show here and there. But when
Yeah.
that's your full-time job, I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to. I don't think I want to do that.
Okay.
So I
And,
had to pull it back. It was like, come back to Earth, sis. There's other things to do.
and what was your favorite dance?
Um, hmm. I mean, hip hop is number one
Hip hop.
always.
Okay.
But I liked modern dance. I even did like some salsa. I had got a chance to do some dance classes. My mother ain't had the money like that, right? So when she found the money to send me to dance classes, I took everything I could, right?
Mm,
So I did ballet, I did modern, I did salsa, I did hip hop, I did African. But I think my favorite was like, I want to say modern, just because you can put a little bit more emotion into it, right?
okay.
And like body type is not a big thing. Like with when you're doing ballet, your body has to be a certain way in certain positions for a long time. That
Yeah.
hurts a
Got you. Okay.
lot, a lot. So I would say between modern hip hop and some forms of African dance.
Okay.
The only thing I never did was Bollywood. One day I'm gonna take a Bollywood class because it just
Oh,
looks cool.
Bollywood. Yeah.
Bollywood looks like it's drama, right? Like they got
That
storyline.
look like you need a lot of endurance because they're
Yes, big
always moving.
hands,
Yep.
jumping all around. I love it so much. So one day I would like to take a class in Bollywood just to kind of see like what techniques they have. Because obviously they also take some techniques from popular culture as well. So
Yeah.
you'll see like some hip hop steps in there. You'll see, right? Like you'll see some jazz steps in there, but like it's their own, it's like their cultural dance also mixed in with it. So it looks really cool.
Okay. The next one is, was there someone or something that had a big impact in your life and how you see yourself today?
Someone or something. I would say I grew up in a black church.
Okay.
And so, right, I've always grown up with like a positive self-concept as a chocolate girl navigating this world.
Okay.
I would say that just that experience had a big impact on me because it wasn't just religion, right? It wasn't just my life in Christ. It was
Yeah.
a kind of like full on kind of upbringing where we got to explore ourselves. We went on trips. Like we did a lot of things that wasn't just uh, praising God centered, right? Like it was part of it, right? But in order to make sure that we stayed on the right path, they also made sure that we were able to express ourselves and have fun and like build community within each other, right? Like so we're not outside looking for the wrong influences. So I would say that definitely was a part of who I am. It's in my DNA, right? Because even
Absolutely.
now I'll be looking over my shoulder, like, you never know who what you call it. Like when you grow up in church, the church ladies everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
So you got to be careful what you say. You got to be careful what you do because you never know who's watching you. But I sincerely appreciate the way people looked out for each other, right? I couldn't get into much because it was always somebody, hey, I seen your granddaughter on the Grand Concourse talking to some boy, you might want to talk to her, right? Like it was always somebody looking out just because they wanted to make sure that you stayed on the right path. And I want to say that having that helped me to like monitor myself, right? I wasn't trying to do the wrong things because like I'm trying to go to heaven, right? I got
Exactly.
other things I
Yep.
want to do after all this is over. So like I really like paid attention to how I was presenting, and also like thinking about who I'm representing, right? Like I'm representing my family when I'm outside, right? Or whoever meets me, right? I'm a representation of them. It really made me think about those things. I would say like my former church, right? Like, cause when I was younger, I was in there every day, and as soon as I was old enough, I was like, I ain't going no more. I got it. I understand. I read the whole book cover to cover. Me
Yep.
and Jesus, we here, we straight. But I would say they are the people, the ones that really like help Amber to become Amber and help to shape, right? Like my morality and everything like that. It really helped to shape me to be, a person who not only looks after self but also looks after others because other people looked after me.
No, that's great. I hope the children that's watching this right now, they could take a page out of that book because a lot of them don't have the direction. So using the community of church, that's a positive influence in most cases. So
Hmm.
I hope they take that out of the book that you just gave them. The next one will be if you could talk to your younger self for 5 minutes, what would you tell yourself?
Girl, they're gonna be all on you later. Okay. Like I said, growing up as a chocolate girl, there was a lot of things like, navigating identity, you know, beauty standards, all these different things. And like, I think some of it did hurt my confidence a lot. So I wasn't, like I have a pretty big personality, but like I kind of dimmed myself, right? Because
Yeah,
they're not looking for you anyway. Ain't nobody paying no, paying no mind,
I
right?
get
If
it.
you start to get a lot of those messages early on, and then all of a sudden everybody goes through puberty and like all the blackie and tar baby and all these things that they used to call you, all of a sudden now you cute. Huh. I am now,
Like what?
right?
Say that again?
Like, oh, now I'm cute. Oh, but what? It's the same girl from what happened. So I
Yeah.
was saying, right, like they gonna be all on you now, girl. They gonna be all on you now, girl. And I think also like the influence, like my stepdad's family, his family is like super chocolate people, right? And so like growing up, I just remember them being the ones pouring in to be like, you're a pretty girl, you're so cute, blah blah blah. Because sometimes that does hurt your confidence, right? Like when you don't feel like, you look like nothing. Right? And people can say, like it's shallow or whatever, but like unless you've grown up as a dark-skinned girl in this place where the beauty standard is the complete opposite of you, right? Like it does hurt your confidence, your ability to express yourself and things like that because you're always playing small because that's what people expect you to do. So now,
But you
back
know,
when they didn't want me,
it,
now
it's
they all
crazy.
on me.
It's crazy you say that because I would never think that. Your confidence is out the roof, and you're well spoken. You're not afraid to speak to people. Like that's great that you came out of that. How were you able to come out of it?
I mean, a lot of it was also realizing that hurt people, right?
Okay,
Like
that's a
then I
bar.
realized, like as you get older, you realize like some of this is coming because they don't feel good about themselves. So they got to make you feel bad because
Your
they feel
words.
bad about themselves. And that's essentially what I learned from like watching people and like being around people is like some people they can't they can't have you be all up here and you're all excited and happy, right? I'm down here, so I need to bring you down a notch, right? Like
Yeah, that's
people get a kick
messed
out
up.
of humbling other people. And so when I notice that, like that's the pattern, right? Like you feel like crap, so of course, naturally, right? You got to knock me down a peg because you need to feel good. Then everything came from the inside, right? Like that's positive self-talk. That is like, really just like pouring into me versus like thinking about what others think. Like now I'm like at a point, I'm over 40 now, so now I'm just like, I don't care what you think.
Exactly.
That's your business.
No, that's
Leave
real.
me out of it. Right. But it took a while to get there. But I want to say like somewhere in my 20s was when I was like, yeah, these people, they don't like themselves. And so that's their business. I like me.
That's
Like I
good.
always been fire. I was waiting for y'all to catch up. That's your business.
Exactly.
You don't like it, that's your business.
And,
But
and
yeah.
I kind of similar to you. I used to get that from a lot of females. I used to see the most popular girl, and when I was younger, I wasn't afraid to go up and talk to nobody. But
Hmm.
then you think that you're brave and you go up to the most beautiful girl in the
They be like,
school, and she's like, you ugly. You be like,
that,
damn.
oh, well, damn.
Like, damn, you ain't gotta say it like that.
Wow. Yeesh.
And then when you get out of school and then you start working and now you start dressing
Right.
better, you start getting
Right. And so I think
better
that's
things.
it's
You know?
all of that, right? Because it's not just like sometimes our inner thoughts become our outer whatever, right? So like
Yeah.
maybe we're not dressing as nice as we could, right? Like we already don't think we're gonna be like that, right? So like
Exactly.
we're like kind of like toning it down because nobody's gonna look at us anyway. What's the point, right? But then when you really start thinking about it, like your inner glow can be on the outside too, right? And like I
Yeah.
think sometimes it's from the inside, like what people see from the inside when you really be, oh wow, they're so confident, they're so what you call, they're so sure of themselves, like, right? Like that's the
Yeah.
thing that radiates to people, I think, a lot of the time, and it's not necessarily even the outward stuff. It's just like how do you navigate that? Oh yeah, you this, you this, you this. Okay, cool, you got that. Next, right? Moving
Yeah.
on, like not being affected by it. Because I think
Yeah.
that's the other thing is as soon as you show that you're affected by it, oh, I'm gonna cry. Oh, right? Like, oh, look, ah, right?
Yep.
Then it becomes a whole different situation. But I think, once you radiate that from the inside, people start seeing it and you start feeling better, everything else gets better, right? Now
I
you looking good on the
agree.
outside because you feel good on the inside. Now everybody's like, oh, so what's going on over there? Mind your business. That's
Like
what's going on. Mind your
I'm
business.
taking you go. I may be ugly to you, but I'm going
Somebody
to
like it.
somebody else.
Sit
Keep your opinion to yourself.
to yourself.
All right. Was there a turning point that really shifted the direction of your path personally and professionally?
Well, I don't always tell this story, but I've told this story several times before.
Okay.
Before I started college, I got robbed.
Oh
And
wow.
so like I have dealt with anxiety. But I didn't know what it was when it happened, right? Like,
Yeah.
it was weird too because it was a white man that did it. So like
Oh
nobody
wow.
believed me. So that was a lot. The people at the store was like, "How did you let him take the money?" I'm like, "He threatened my life."
Oh, wow.
It's only $300, sir. Take it, right?
Oh wait, so you were working at the store or you were a
I was
customer?
working at the store. I was working at Bellevue Hospital.
Oh
In
wow.
it was like a, what do you call that? Like the gift shop. And so I
Oh
was
okay.
working there and, the guy came in twice. I didn't pay no attention to it. Like the first time he came in, we talked and everything. Kiki, ha ha ha.
Oh wow.
He took his purchase and he left. He came back. The next time I was like, "Oh, you want another, trying to get some more candy?" Was talking to him because we already had struck up conversation.
Yeah.
And then his everything just turned dark.
Oh wow.
And it became like it was like a whole different person had presented himself. And it was the scariest thing. I like tried to like hold myself together as much as I could, but then he said he was gonna stab me if I started talking. So
Oh.
oddly enough, I just started singing. I started singing "Happy Birthday" to this day. I don't know what happened. It just
Wow.
started coming out, and I was "Happy Birthday to you." But I think in my mind, I think I was hoping that somebody behind, like, because people started coming in the store after, and I was
Yeah.
hoping that somebody would catch on that something's off.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was a little bit of that, but like I don't know what. And the man told me he was gonna stab me. He was going to kill me if I didn't shut up. And
Wow.
I gave him the money and told me to sit on the ground. I did. And by that point, I had a line and nobody seen anything.
So it was a line of people and they didn't see it?
He left with the money, walked or ran. I don't even know how he got out the store. Hospital police is literally, so like the gift shop is like right where the hospital police are literally lined up. Multiple, because it's Bellevue, right? All the crazies in there.
That's
He
crazy.
literally walked out with the cash, right? Walked right past them, and nobody saw a thing until I started crying. Like at this point now, I'm like, because he left, I'm like visibly shaking. And the nurse was like, because it was like a nurse standing right behind him. She was like, "Did he rob you?" And I was like,
Wow.
and I just remember that night just being like, a lot of stuff shifted because it was just like the cops didn't believe me. It's like it was a white man. No, you look through the book. Showed me all kind of black and Hispanic crackheads. I said, "Sir, I just told
Wow.
you the man was white,
That is
white,
crazy.
and he had on a raincoat, khaki pants, and a baseball cap. He looked like any other regular white man."
That is crazy.
And they didn't believe me. So it was a lot navigating that and like trying to just get back to basics when you haven't really even debriefed what happened to you, right?
Yeah, you just face the trauma and then you're getting faced with some type of racism or bias. I don't know what that is.
A whole lot of, and just like navigating that and trying to navigate those feelings about that occurrence, navigating the trauma that you hold inside of you, and then, having to go back to work in school like nothing happened. And so like a lot of things kind of shifted from there. It was just like shut down, isolation. I wasn't sure what was happening in my body either, because like anxiety is weird the way it shows up, and then sometimes like after trauma, PTSD shows up very odd, because like sometimes it'll happen like right when everything is happening, and then sometimes it doesn't show up for months or years later.
Yeah,
And so I had no idea what the heck was going on. I'm like, I'm about to start school. I got all this stuff to do. I got to go back to work, and like they didn't really give me no time to understand what happened. It was like, come back to work, came back to work. They had to shut the whole store down because I had a panic attack. I didn't know that's what it was called at the time, but I was crying,
that is
had to shut the
crazy.
whole store down. And of course, navigating those big feelings, plus y'all still asking me how I let the man get the money. Like, were you there?
That is crazy.
Oh, and I found out that their cameras didn't work. So the
They had
security
dummy
cameras
cameras.
were
Wow,
dummy cameras.
that is amazing.
And so nobody's seen anything. And so like trying to navigate going to school and
All right, let me ask you a question.
yeah.
So I know in our community, I speak to people about this all the time.
Mhm.
A lot of African American people, they don't believe in therapy. Did you ever take therapy for this?
I did
You did? Okay.
eventually, right? I think once I understood what I was, and what's so helpful? See how let me tell you how God worked. Because I just put two and two together. I became a psychology major when I started at that school. I remember I had a teacher. He came classroom first day. He had a brain in a jar, put it on the desk. Boom. That was how he started the conversation. I was like, oh my God, I need to be in here. Right. And so, like, taking those classes, I started to recognize my symptoms. Had I not been studying psychology, I would have no idea. And, like, who knows what would have happened, or, like the amount of breakdown that would have happened before I actually did seek therapy. Right.
Wow.
Because I had no idea. I just know when I get on the train, I start shaking. I can't breathe, and sometimes I just start crying out of nowhere, right? It would happen often. There would be times where I'm sleeping and I'll wake up screaming and I don't know what happened, right? So like all these things are adding up to something, but like I don't know what it is. We didn't get to that chapter yet, right?
That
So
is
by the time we
crazy.
got to the chapter, I said, "Oh,
That's what
is
that was.
this what I got? Oh, wait a minute, hold on, right?" And so I ended up transferring schools because I couldn't even get into Manhattan. Like to get on the train to Chambers Street from the Bronx, right? When after 86th Street, the color changed, right? You see
Yeah.
a bunch of brown people, and then all of a
Um,
sudden you see a bunch of white people.
yep.
Get me off this train. Get me
Um,
out of here. And so like my second year of college, I ended up going to Bronx Community College. I was doing a dance club. It was like, one of my activities that I did. And I remember talking to the teacher and she was like, "Hey, have you ever talked to somebody about this?" And she directed me to, go to the counseling department. And that was the thing that kind of changed everything for me. It was like, oh, one, I figured out what I was dealing with, right? And then,
yeah.
although a lot of stuff still was like shut down, isolation. I don't want to be bothered. Don't ask me to come nowhere. I can't get on the train, so don't bother me. I can't do it. Stop it. Right. And so like it took a while. I want to say when I became a teacher and all that stuff, kind of have no choice, right? You kind of have to, you got to live. You got to figure
Yeah.
things out. And so like, you start facing fears and getting on the train and, I think the farthest I could go by myself was like Harlem. And then, as I started working, I get farther and farther downtown because some of the things that we need to do, professional development and stuff like that is all over the city. So you gotta like push yourself further and further. So I would say a lot of it is behind me. I still like have my moments where like, the anxiety will present itself, but like I have tools in my toolkit now. I know how to handle things now. I know how to like manage my symptoms when I feel it. So like I'm always like trying to talk about it because I think sometimes we don't consider those things like life,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, how do you move forward? Do you want it to knock you down continuously, or do you want to get help and support for it? And I was like, help me, please, somebody, because my family had never even considered like, hey, maybe you should go speak to a therapist, because I don't think anybody really in my family up until that point had like really had a stint with therapy or like
Exactly.
understood how it can help, right? Religious people, so it's like take it to God in prayer.
That's what I'm talking about. In
It's
my
like,
community, nobody believed in that stuff. So
so, yeah, the
I
Lord
pre
made
I preach it to everybody
people.
now.
Yeah, because the Lord made social workers and psychologists and psychiatrists. So take advantage.
Well, the way I view it is more so like speaking to somebody that you don't have a close connection with about stuff that you're dealing with. When
Hmm.
you speak to family members or loved ones, it's a like emotional attachment there, so they can't really give you advice that will probably be good for you. In most cases, there are some family members that could do it for you, but if you don't have that bond with a family member to share an intimate thing, something like a trauma or otherwise, it's better to speak to somebody outside who's trained to deal with different scenarios. So
Yeah,
that's my advice. That's what I always tell young people that tell me of things that they're dealing with.
yeah.
What do you love most about what you do today, and what keeps you inspired to keep doing it?
Oh, I feel like a detective.
You feel
I was like, I might have
like
missed my calling. I feel like a detective. It is so cool the amount of problem solving that goes into this work. Sometimes you get some tough situations. For the most part, it's pretty easy to like really help someone navigate. I think also helping people shift to what's possible because I think also like, you know, what I tell people is like when young people they know the basics, doctor, lawyer, engineer, social worker, teacher,
Yep.
right? Like outside of that, they're not really taught to kind of like dream bigger. They're not really taught to do research to see what else is out there. And so like in their minds, this is all there is, right? And so like being able to help them to see what is available to them, greatest joy, to be able to like expose them to things that they had not been exposed to be able to be trusted, right? Because
Yep.
that's not easy for someone to trust you with their dream, right? Like, and people trust me to help them to figure out what the heck they're going to do with the rest of their lives, right? So I think that's the coolest thing in the world, right? I went to college, and a lot of the systems are still the same. A lot of the policies are still the same. A lot of the, way that we talk to young people, the way that we talk to families is still the same. It is 2025.
Yep.
Right? Like something has to shift. And I feel like the shift begins with me, right? Like it begins with me being courageous enough to talk about things that people probably, won't talk about, right?
Yeah.
It's about, building that trust factor with families to make sure that they are able to do the things that they want to do. Like that's what motivates me. Also, like I also think about my story. Like I'm first generation. My mother tried her best to help me. My mother will never be the villain in my story, ever, right? She did what she could with what she had, and we just wasn't able to, figure it out the way I wanted to, right? I envisioned myself going to an HBCU. The money wasn't there for that.
Sometimes it don't happen. Yeah.
We ain't have it like that, right? And so, like, for me, I feel like I was mature enough to make a decision to be like, hey, don't you worry about it. There's other options for me. But, right, like, I meet with families who, like, they like, I don't care if they struggling. I'm going.
Yeah.
Not an answer.
Yeah. Put
Right?
myself in
And so,
super debt.
right. It's like, so what? That's your business. Nobody told you to have me.
Exactly.
It's the craziest thing in the world. But like for me, it's about, making this stuff accessible. It wasn't accessible to my mother. She did her best. The internet was just getting started, really. Like, we had to dial up. It made all that noise and everything. So, like, the internet had what it had, and that was it. So, like, researching and finding other things and resources and things like that just wasn't something that we were able to do for ourselves. And so, like, what motivates me is being able to do that for other families, right? So, like, I always think about what she needed first, right? And I think about like what would have had our situation turn out, right? And so like I think about that and I give that to the families that I serve.
Great. I love that answer. All right. The last question that I have for you is from the previous guest. His name is Alex.
Hmm.
He wanted to know, do you believe a person can determine whether someone else is masculine or feminine?
I don't think so. I think that's a you thing, right? Like that's a uniquely you thing. And you are the only one who gets to determine whether or not you are. Now, granted, there might be times where you show up, right? We all have masculine and feminine in us. It's just part of our biology. It is
Absolutely.
what it is, right? And so it just depends on what you choose to lean into and like what you choose not to lean into. But that's a you thing. At the end of the day, it's like us being judgy about whether someone's masculine or feminine, we never rise, right? Because we worried about the wrong things. There's so many things
Exactly.
happening in the world. You worried about if somebody talk with their hands too much.
Exactly.
Like, mind your business. Let that
Yep.
person be. But yeah, like I don't think nobody, I don't feel like nobody should be able to tell you. I do feel like also, right, like people are gonna have their preferences and people, right, like, maybe you want a more masculine girl or, or want a more feminine girl, right? Like
Yep.
that's your preference. But like telling people what mind your business. That's
Exactly.
not up to you to tell anybody anything. Go where you are celebrated. If that's not if
I
that's not your
agree.
ministry, that's okay. Move on to the next and mind your business and let people be. I
I
think if
agree.
people were able to be, we would not be in the pickle of whatever the heck this world is. If people were just able to just freaking be themselves, and do the things that they want to do because they want to do them, I think we would be better off for it. So
Okay.
yeah.
And we're gonna end it with your question for the next guest.
Hmm. Um, what makes you feel the most alive?
What makes you feel the most alive? That's a good one. That's a new one. Nobody's asked that one, so I look forward to asking other
Boom.
people.
You're
Well,
welcome.
thank you so much, Miss Amber, for your time,
Absolutely.
sharing your life with us, and hopefully the people that's watching this can learn a thing or two from your journey in life. And do you want to leave any parting words or how they can connect with you if their children need help with school and things like that?
I mean, you can find me on Instagram on track with Ms. P, on track with Mizzp. Because
Okay.
people be trying to put the two S's. Ain't no S's in there. Z's. Put some respect
Easy.
on my Z's, please. You can go to my website, www.mizzp.nyc, misspnyc.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just keep going, keep doing what you do. Get help and support. I think right now community is the way that we're gonna win at life, period. I've been learning that. That's my lesson of the day. Build your community, whatever that looks like for you. Always have your supporters behind you, have your cheerleaders in front of you, right? Like just make sure that you arm yourself with, people that you can lean on, that you can trust, because where we're going, we're gonna need our people. So yeah, build your community, build it now.
What she said. It's powerful.